fresh from creating French youth soccer jerseys. It's so random. All right. Well, thank you everyone who is in attendance. If anyone has any building related questions, this is an open forum, so it's not as structured as midweek with Max, where we're providing updates and whatnot. It's just me kind of hanging out with the protocol engineering team who are here to answer any building related questions, anything about the tech. So please feel free. This is the time.
Notice we got
And
a better turnout doing it in the morning. Maybe my idea
that
of
make
staggering didn't quite land like I thought it would.
I thought it was a
it
good idea to.
it sounded totally like yes, it totally sounded like the right thing to me, but
Yeah, I mean, I think we had like 40 people for the morning session, so we may need to reevaluate. It might be very late for a lot of folks.
yeah. And look, if we learn that that's the wrong time to do it, then we learned empirically that it was the wrong time.
Right.
I mean, in the true spirit of office hours, there's a real good chance nobody shows up unless it's the day before a test anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
For the solution, we got to start handing out tests.
We totally could.
It would
There's a
be
way we
fun to
could
do
do it
like
on.
a like Hemi trivia. I think we did that a long time ago as some community event, right?
We did. We're still trying to find something that base actually here's a building related thing. What I personally would love to see built would be, those like Jeopardy clones you see online where you can like put in your own questions and shit. I'd love to see one like Hemi skinned that we could actually host like our own version of Jeopardy as like kind of like a live game for the community.
That'd be cool. We should figure out how to do that.
I could try vibe coding it. I've never tried vibe coding anything, but maybe this is my chance.
Maybe we'll do a teacher at crypto vibe coding, and then we'll make a Hemi branded Jeopardy.
That's a great idea. We should do that.
I am all sorts of down with it for any interactive learning experience, we'll call it.
I'm so down for that. Plus, then we can do our own like Hemi Jeopardy in hosted on Discord. That would be fun.
We could probably reuse some of that to do like a some sort of like we were talking about that on-chain capture the flag game.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there's some definite like similar pieces sitting between the two. Like a lot of it.
So what? How exactly does the capture the flag mechanics work?
There's a couple different ways to do it. What I was thinking, so when you look at like normal, say like hacking, capture the flags, like security type DTFs. Usually there's depends on the type, but there's like either a website or like a downloadable binary or sort of mixed events. You have all types of different things, and then there's just progressively harder tasks to complete in different categories. So you might have like you know hacking into web infrastructure, and then there's like five different tasks, and it goes from some super easy MySQL injection or something, and then it gets harder and harder as you go up in the number of points, and then people compete in teams, and they see how many points they can get in each category. Uh, but the version I thought would be fun was a like truly on-chain version where the first person to do this specific thing is the only one who captures that flag and gets those points. So it had to be more of a live event. A lot of the CTFs can be kind of async. It's like over a weekend and people do it whenever they have time and have fun with it. But this would be more of like a live event. So something like,
That's
for
so
example, we'd
sick.
send like 2 Bitcoin transactions that were signed with bad randomness for ECDSA. And then the first person who cracks that and is able to recover the private key from it, they capture like $10 worth of Bitcoin and they get 200 points on the board for that or whatever.
And I mean, you can do simpler bits for the easier ones, like have an Ethereum transaction with some like data blob that is quote unquote encrypted in some way,
Oh, I
and you have
love
to
it.
figure out what it is. Where you could do a couple of like, from really there's really basic ciphers down to really complicated shit.
I love. Let's do this. Can we
Just
just do
gotta we
this?
just gotta find the time to build it. That's the hard part.
Oh, gotcha,
But it's
gotcha,
super
gotcha.
fun. It'd be awesome to do.
Yeah, it
It
is a lot. It
sounds
would be
it
a
sounds
lot of fun.
awesome.
And we could do like smart contract vulnerabilities, so have, a reentrancy attack in some contract, and the first person who's able to exploit that and get it to do something, they get the flag for that. So we could do all kinds of like smart contract vulnerabilities, cryptography, what else could we do on chain or verifiable on chain?
Could it have like an NFT component?
Yeah. Yeah, first person who captures the flag could get the flag could literally be an NFT that they own and then they can do something with.
Wait, did you just find the actual first use case for NFTs?
I think
All
so.
these years and all they had to do was a CTF.
I was thinking you could have like a title like Mentora and stuff too with that. Like where like I don't know, if they win it and then they could like either list it there or what have you too. I don't know if that's even possible, but I love this idea. Like who can build this? Is it
Uh,
is it
Joshua, John, myself, Marco. It's pretty much the engineering team.
yeah,
That's
good
that's the
point.
hard
Okay.
part.
Uh
It would
I
be a
don't know
lot of
this
fun though. We could probably vibe code quite a bit of it. Cause like, smart contract vulnerabilities, that's easy stuff to
That's Claude's specialty.
yeah. It writes vulnerabilities in when you don't want it to. It's perfect.
this sounds like something we should casually mention around Marco. Just see if he jumps at it. If like
Not a bad idea.
I feel like we could bait Marco into just doing this.
We'll have to mention something related to like, man, we could probably do something really cool with ordinals around this. And then just kind of
Right.
let it sit.
All right. If anyone has any questions, we're hanging out. So drop your questions in the chat. Otherwise, you may just hear us gabbing on about random shit.
Got a CTF that nobody has the resources to actually build, but it would be a lot
But
of fun.
we all love the idea of it.
Back in the early days of Hemi, I wanted to do, and again, time constraint, I wanted to do like an on-chain, uh, like RPG kind of a thing, and it'd be like super cheesy intentionally. And so, but it would teach you things about like HVM, how to deploy a contract that uses HVM to, read some Bitcoin data or something. And I had this whole thing figured out. There was going to be a wizard that was asleep, and the text would say he was snoring. And I didn't get much further than that, but it was
No,
like a
dude,
fun
that's
interactive coding
You
experience.
got you got one pun in. That's as far as I got.
oh no, we can make that way punnier. Are you kidding me? If you ever want to revisit that, I literally write video games when I'm not doing stuff here. So
It could be fun. The idea would be like you deploy a contract that can, read data from Bitcoin, and that's like a quest that you'd complete, and the goal is at the end you'd get like a commemorative NFT or something for it. It's supposed to be kind of a like bootstrap. Hey, what's different about Hemi from a like smart contract developer perspective. So maybe somebody to dust off one of these days.
That's a really good idea. And anything RPG would be super sick. I wonder if there's a Mudokon is building an RPG kind of almost like Stardew Valley type game that he's trying to get on the Hemi network. I'm wondering if there's any like overlap where we could put some of these ideas into that, like once it's like more developed.
That could be cool. 'Cause, yeah, realistically, we're not gonna. Other than Daniel's working on like a text RPG. I think he was talking about in one of the AMAs.
Yeah, that's the big Zorkified. It's gonna
Yeah,
be. I think I know he's currently working on it, but I think we said June for further updates. I want to say so next month.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Sweet.
Yeah,
we're doing a
I'm
whole ZK section for the CTFs, like vulnerable ZKVM guest programs. You have to figure out how to get them to output or commit to bad data. The more I talk about it, the more I want to do the CTF thing.
I,
It'll
I
be a nights and
let's
weekends thing.
let's keep talking about it then. It would be really cool.
I know it really does sound. Oh god, yeah, it totally sounds more and more funny at each step you think of.
It'll probably get like 10 people to actually do it, but it'll be a fun small
Mhm.
group of people.
Yeah.
So there's background noise. There's someone doing landscaping. I was going to complain about the time that they're doing it, but it's like 2 in the afternoon, which is totally reasonable.
That
Yeah, that
that
is a
that
reasonable
yeah,
time to do it.
that's actually if they were to pick any time, like exactly when you want them to do it.
Yeah, it'd probably be exactly now.
Yeah, I think my lawn guys come on Fridays now, but I don't entirely know. I don't totally pay attention.
Just come home one day and the lawn looks nice and
Like, oh,
cool.
it's good. And then I think, and then a bill shows up occasionally. I pay it. My old lawn guys were weird. They'd like send me a bill like at the end of the year, and it's like, dude, you've been doing my lawn for like the last like 5 months and didn't ask for any of the money yet. It seems like bad
That's
business.
weird. I would not want to see their accounts receivable.
No, it. Of course, those are the same guys who broke the rear windshield on my wife's car, so they weren't great at the whole thing.
Fair enough.
But he did have a windshield guy like saved on his phone, so
He probably intentionally breaks your windshield so we can refer you to his buddy who does windshield replacements.
and the damn windshield didn't even last. Did a bad job even like that. Well, now we've covered lawn care and car windshield replacement.
Yes.
If anyone wants to ask a question about building on Hemi, now would be the time.
Now would definitely be the time. Otherwise, who knows where this conversation's going to go? Yeah, I'm thinking we may want to stick to mornings.
Yeah,
Well, less
maybe
and
what
more.
we'll do is the next one's in the morning. We'll do a poll and see if most of the people there prefer that time slot, which I know is a bias sample, but
Totally. Well, I'll pop a poll up right now and let it run for a week, and
that's a
then we
good
can
idea.
just
I don't think Jeremy's going to be clipping any content from this event.
No, no, this is not. I don't think this is even useful for like audio B-roll.
Maybe the lawnmower story, that could be some good stuff in there, perhaps.
Oh well, if you want lawn guy stories, I have more. A couple of years ago, the guys who were doing my lawn, the guy knocks on my door. So I go, I answer it, and he's like, Oscar. Oscar was the guy who owned the company. And, I barely passed Spanish in high school, and this guy's English was not much. And he's like, Oscar, and he like, do you know when you do your finger across the throat, sort of in that throat cutting motion? And he's like,
Oscar
Oscar,
died.
and does that. I'm like, holy shit, what happened, Oscar?
You're next if you don't pay that invoice.
And, I sort of laughed nervously, which I felt a little bad about because, yes, Oscar did die. And apparently he was cutting down a tree at someone else's, not mine. And it
Oh, geez.
didn't go well.
Ugh.
I was like, Jesus. And then when I had a tree that was dead, the guy was like, do you want us to take care of it? I'm like, no. You clearly are not the best people for this.
Cutting down trees is so dangerous. People have no idea. I've seen so many of those videos of, and you're watching it, you're like, oh, the tree's going to fall to the left. And you're like, oh, there it goes into the house. Crap.
Yep. Oh, I was terrified when any of the trees I had to have cut down. Like when you watch them, it's like, hey. Like I could not do that.
It is not just you. No one was speaking. We were talking about lawn care and some other stuff, but we're here to answer any technical or building related questions. So if you have any, by all means, please drop them in the chat. Otherwise, there may be periods of silence or talk about whatever weird shit we've already been talking about. I don't know. I got nothing. I got no material right now.
Got any more of those lawn stories, John?
Nope, that is it. I covered all of them.
I got a pretty crazy story I can tell you guys. So my buddy, he does a lot of like work around my house and shit, and I've known him for like since I was like 8. Like he's like basically family. He was like going through his phone and like deleting numbers of people like he hasn't spoke to in forever, right? And so for some reason he got trashed and then started texting some of these numbers like, "Hey, are you dead?" And like for, I don't know why he did this, but apparently someone wrote back and has now been harassing him for a week because I guess the guy was dead. And his aunt, who was even older, now has the phone. So the guy's kids thought that my buddy was threatening him or her, and now they, they're flooding his text messages from like 10 different numbers and he
Oh my
can't
god.
keep up. They keep buying like burners or something just to like text and harass him. Like, are you dead? Like, you're gonna be soon. It's like, Jesus, this escalated.
Oh my god.
It's yeah, I just got the intel on this last night, and I was like, "Well, that's stupid." I was like, "Maybe don't drink and ask people if they're dead. Just delete the number, you idiot." Like, is that the whole point?
I shouldn't have to say that, but
Right.
oh god.
Oh, yeah, no one. Kick us your vibe coding questions. We're here for it, and I'm sure John has a lot to say when it comes to that subject. X as well, but John's will have way more profanity.
Guns are a little spicier.
Yeah. Nope, I think we're getting a question. I hope we're getting a question. I hope it's not a question about like why my buddy got drunk and started texting people, "Are you dead?" Um, or
May
about
have just
lawn
vibe
care.
coded an app to do that for him.
We'll also take your lawn care related questions at this point. So
Any questions about developing on Hemi, lawn care, or texting etiquette? Put them in the
yes,
chat.
yep. All
So
right.
only
Okay. I have a question, gentlemen. We have an actual question. All right.
all right.
How safe is it to have AI write my contract's code for me from a 1 to 10 scale?
If we're just giving numbers, I'm gonna go with something like a 6 or a 7. You have to understand what the contracts are doing. So if you understand Solidity and you have it writing Solidity that you yourself can review, it can be relatively safe as long as you're paying attention. And if you have a good review process, like we've been sort of sharpening our internal AI tools for or procedures, how to use AI tools to do smart contract audits, and it's found useful stuff, especially when you're just drafting something and you haven't fully gone through it yourself yet. So if you have a good review process with the AI and you actually are understanding the code it's writing, it can be a great tool. But yeah, smart contracts are one of the areas where it's one very minor mistake can be a critical security vulnerability. So you definitely want to check the output, really understand what it's doing.
Yeah, and the understanding what it's doing is really important. So like if let's ignore how well you can write Solidity or how well you understand Solidity for a minute. And if how well you understand what you're trying to ask it to do and how like carefully you can lay that out will radically impact how safe it is to do it. So like if you had Rick's drunk friend text Claude an idea about for a smart contract, that's probably pretty goddamn not safe. If you have a really good idea of what you're trying to do and you can describe it very well with like limits to what it does with like tests that you can ask Claude or ChatGPT or whatever the fuck Google has to write, then you could actually probably do something fairly safe. But it depends on the care at which you use it and sort of the thought you put into as you're using it.
We kind of touched on this, but test-driven development. So knowing what you want your contract to do, writing test cases that exercise the happy path, but also all these potential negative paths that you want to cover, and then having the AI iterate on the code against those tests, or having the AI write the tests and then you review them. But either way, you're giving either the instructions for the tests and then reviewing them, or writing the test yourself for what the program should actually be doing, and then letting AI backfill in the program that does it. That's again by no means perfect, but that can be a useful strategy for how to kind of corral AI into doing what you actually want it to do. Fun fact, I think I've mentioned this on a previous midweek, but, well, this isn't midweek, but whatever. Um, when I was first trying out, I believe it was Claude Code. This is probably like back in Opus 4.5 days. and trying to get it to write some test cases for the VE Hemi, or not VE Hemi, the pop payouts contract, I think. And one of the tests wasn't passing, and I was pushing it on, is it a bug in the code? Is it a bug in the test? Review everything. And it decided it would, the instruction I gave was something like, keep iterating until you've got the test passing successfully, whether it's an issue with the test or an issue with the code, which is a bad way to instruct AI. And it ended up getting the test to pass by basically just doing an equality check of like, if 1 = 1, then assert true and the test is done. So it it got the test to pass, but the test was now completely useless.
That's interesting. Like it like found a shortcut to like do the result, but while it got the result, it totally killed everything.
It's like everyone jokes about, I forget what the example people use is, but like you tell the AI to cure cancer, and it's like, well, if we got rid of all the humans, there wouldn't be any cancer. Like,
Yeah,
not the solution
exactly.
we were looking for, bud.
Yeah. They're like, well, this is the most efficient way. It's like, oh, it's weird that we don't do midweek with Max on Wednesdays.
It's funny. I was just mentioning that to a friend because I was talking about working on Hemi, and I mentioned midweek with Max, and he said, "Well, if you count Sunday as the first day of the week, I mean, it's already
Yeah, I
midweek."
guess that's how you'd have to do it. Otherwise, yeah, why don't we do it on Wednesdays?
I think there was a conflict at some point. I think in the very beginning, we either wanted to do it on Wednesday or maybe even did 1 or 2 episodes on Wednesday and then moved it. I can't remember why.
Yeah. Oh, I think it was like there was like a conference or something where like some folks were traveling and we had to move it to Tuesday, but for some reason we never moved it back.
That could have been. That kind of sounds like us.
It does sound like something we would do. All right, well, Sunday is apparently the first day of the week. Um,
Even though it's still only the third day, but close enough.
right, right.
We rebrand to early week with Max for our 150th episode.
Oh, we could, or we actually move it to Wednesday at the 150th episode and be like, look, it makes sense now.
2 years in, the name actually makes sense.
Yeah, it only took us 150 weeks to do it.
We could do that because we have the engineering office hours Wednesday at the same time, so it'd just be literally swapping the two events. Like we already have everyone's calendar's already cleared for it.
Oh, right. Yeah. So we literally could do that after the 150th episode if we want. Or I mean whenever, because we could just swap the times and just do office hours on the Tuesday.
That might not be a bad idea.
It's one of those things that I've like always noticed, but I never said out loud. I was like, this isn't really midweek. Like, like I get the alliteration, like midweek and max, but it's Tuesday.
We could do Taco Tuesdays with the team. Get the T's in there.
Just get a lot of tea. We'll just add more.
Join us next week for TTTT.
We should just keep adding teas until people get sick of it and catch on. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions come in. So we have a couple options. We could wrap this one up early, let the poll do its work, or we can continue to hang out till the end. I'm good either way. This is your office hours, gents. I'm just
I
here
mean, we
for the
got the
occasional
time
quip.
carved out, but yeah, if there's I don't know if people need another 30 minutes of lawn care advice.
That's true.
I mean, fine, arguably not our most informative time.
Right. I mean, I'm gonna clip no one's question that you and Max answered. I think there's some really good stuff there, and that's I mean that's the meat and potatoes of these, or the point of them. So um, we can put that up there, and hopefully we'll get more questions. We'll start doing an AMA question channel for this. Maybe give people like a few days to pop some in case they can't make it. But I think the poll will be a good indication of like you know when people want to hear us talking. Oh, we already have 5 votes. M- What the?
More people are voting than are here.
More people voted than all voted for afternoon.
We'll have to
Um,
give the poll a full 24 hours to really get an accurate measurement.
oh, we got some questions. Here we go. Can the team explain the long-term vision behind the Hemi virtual machine?
Yeah, for sure. So in its current state, it's basically a way to get a ton of granular Bitcoin data without needing to trust any oracles or rely on any sort of relayer network or anything like that. So it's basically the same trust model you have in an EVM for reading state from a Uniswap contract. You can now read whatever you want about Bitcoin. And so that's the future vision of HVM is to evolve that. So partially what we've already been working on with the Oxygen Indexer gives us access to even more interesting sort of process data, things like Bitcoin fee levels, us being able to look at percentiles of Bitcoin fees of transactions and blocks, being able to look at uh, more interesting flow of funds information. So like higher level statistics that could be useful for some things, certain types like derivatives markets and such. And then the super long term vision, and Marco's actually made a surprising amount of progress, sort of unprompted, towards this in the last week, but is to add in support for meta protocols as well. So being able to interact with ordinals, BRC20s, runes. And so we're basically giving everybody, or giving developers, that data layer of Bitcoin access in a way that's trustless. You don't have to, again, use any oracles or whatever. The data is just part of the EVM's execution environment, and then you can use that to build all kinds of cool Bitcoin interoperability technologies. So, as a concrete example, like the current Bitcoin tunnel that we built, that uses HVM and HBK under the hood for getting all the Bitcoin information. The upgraded version with HBitVM, which actually we just before this call scheduled the next engineering AMA, and that's going to be the primary topic, is going through HBitVM and both the proof system and the bridge design. Uh, but like that leverages all of this data that HBM makes available to smart contracts, and so it lets you build these more Bitcoin native applications that you can't really build on other chains, or if you build them, they have additional trust assumptions for actually validating the Bitcoin data that's getting relayed. And so long-term vision is basically build it out as a smart contract, tooling's not the right word, but feature set that lets you do more cool Bitcoin stuff. We're going to build a lot of the Bitcoin stuff that we're building on top of it. So we need it for our own use cases, but it also can be used to do all kinds of cool new, Bitcoin native DeFi applications that you just really can't build on other chains with limited or trusted Bitcoin data coming through some sort of an Oracle source.
All right. Yeah, no one. I saw your comment. Yeah, if please ask questions about your project. That's what the team's here for. Here we go. Can Hemi use vibe coders to build stuff, or are you looking for strict professionals?
Both. Anyone who wants to build something, whether it's vibe coded, whether you're a professional developer with 20 years of experience, there's either way, there's tons of cool stuff you can build in the ecosystem. I would say for the types of projects, generally speaking, things that are smart contract and on chain, you want a higher level of, understanding of the code itself and being able to vet it from a security perspective. But I mean, there's even, low risk on chain stuff that you could potentially do that's pretty cool with vibe coding. We were just before this, we were having a sort of team community marketing, I don't know what exactly to call it, meeting, and they were talking about, building games on chain, and that's one thing to try to vibe code something like a DEX, and there's, so many potential exploits, and you have to think about, depending on the type of DEX, oracles and different threat models and whatever, but something like, on-chain games where it's just a game and you have some on-chain NFTs that represent items in the game or things like that, relatively low risk, those kinds of things are good candidates for, vibe coding because you're not really dealing with money, you have in-game assets, and it's more all for fun. And then there's tons of other stuff that's, low risk and maybe high return or high utility, like, stats dashboards or, tooling for the ecosystem if you wanted to go and build some stuff that maybe, and again, we don't encourage people to use and launch like third-party pop miners because it's a application dealing with people's money, but there's maybe some things in the pop miner space that you could vibe code for your own uses that could be cool. Uh, Again, stats dashboards, UIs for applications. UIs get dangerous with, dependency management, and there's a whole slew of potential security issues with UI applications, but if it's, read-only UI that someone's not connecting wallet to, relatively low risk in most cases. So yeah, there's definitely stuff people could build just with vibe coding.
Also, remember, networks are, or networks like Hemi are permissionless. We don't get to tell you what to build on it or how to build it. Obviously, if if you build something and show it to us and it is clearly totally insecure or doesn't make any sense, we're not gonna talk about it publicly or be I don't want to say promote it because we don't exactly promote things, but still, like, there's quality control for the things that we're gonna interact with, but it's still a permissionless network. So it's the quality of what you do that's the deciding factor, not how you did it. Because honestly, we don't know how you do it. Like, Max isn't going to be standing over your shoulder complaining that you did it with Claude Code or you did it with fucking IntelliJ when you should have been doing it in Emacs, really.
I know.
I picked those examples very carefully. We don't know how you build it. And that's the way it should be. It's the results that matter.
And one of the fun things, the reason I got into crypto in the first place, I was in late middle school, early high school, just always liked computers, liked economics, and it's just a fun place to build stuff. And I built stuff that didn't work, and I built stuff that nobody cared about, but it was fun. It was a learning experience, and that's it's you might not see ROI immediately. You might not build the next, killer app in 2 weeks with Claude Code and you know raise money on it, but there's a lot you can learn about the ecosystem. As I forgot the name of that developer. There's a lot of these, but there's one guy in particular I'm thinking of who he just did like a vibe coded app a day until one of them really caught on, and none of them were particularly complicated applications, but he just basically kept hammering out interesting little utilities and things that did neat creative stuff, and eventually one of them caught on and became a business for him. So, and you can do the same thing with, again, to a lesser extent, on-chain stuff because there is that additional, you're deploying an application that's dealing with people's money in most cases, not, just a cool AI image editor that catches on because it gets, popular on Twitter or something. But, that same sort of approach of build stuff, see where it goes, see if people are interested, and you might find that you have a really cool idea, you implement an MVP of it, and then you link up with somebody who wants to do the actual, like, hardcore engineering side of it, and you can focus more on the product or marketing or community building or things like that as well. So crypto's cool. One of the few places where you can really just kind of start from nothing and keep poking at stuff and see what you come up with.
All right. We got some other questions that just came in. Let's see. Do we have a governance platform now for voting based off NFTs held. I think Aragon and Snapshot weren't available when I checked many months ago.
We do not at the moment, but we have one coming very soon. They're actually deploying some of their contracts this morning, I believe. So, not sure if we can announce who it is yet until they're fully deployed, but we'll probably be able to announce that in the next week.
All right. Let's see. I am building a marketplace and wanted to ask for a marketplace with escrow plus dispute resolution. Is it better to keep dispute logic on chain or handle it off chain with multisig?
Generally speaking, if you can do it on chain, that's always better. But whether that's practical for your application kind of depends on what you're building. So, if you want to give some more details on how the dispute resolution works, is it a provable thing? Like a lot of people use dispute resolution to refer to kind of like the optimistic verification of you trust something's good, but then if someone challenges it, there's a on-chain way to actually decide what the correct truth is, and then collapse the wave and either refund somebody from escrow or take whatever on-chain action is required. If it's something that involves human mediation anyway, then doing an on-chain version that's not just multi-sig based could collapse to the same trust model depending on, again, what exactly you're doing. So if you want to provide some more details, happy to dive deeper into it. But generally, if you can write code that decides what the outcome should be, then you're always better putting that on chain whenever possible. And I found an excuse to bring up ZK proofs. If the dispute resolution is really complicated but it's still computable, you can always use ZK proofs as a way to offload that computation off chain and then sort of just bring the end result of it on chain and take an action based on it. But again, if it's more of a human mediated thing, then depending on what exactly you're doing, but in a lot of cases, a multi-sig might just be the practical answer to it.
You have no idea how bad I want to like use the Taco Bell gong every time you say ZK proofs or find a way to bring it up. I was like so tempted to do it at midweek with Max, but I was like, I don't want to throw him off his game. Like, that's probably not gonna fly.
I'm already talking about ZK proofs. It's too late.
Um,
Just talk
all
over the
right,
gong.
here we go. We got a couple more that have arrived. What milestones would make the team say Hemi is now production ready infrastructure?
I mean, I'd say we're already production ready. We've been running in mainnet for what is it, 14 months now? I can't do calendar math, but something like that. 14 months. HVM in its current iteration is working and usable, and you can use it to build new cool things. We have a lot of cross-chain infrastructure that's deployed. A lot of the what's the word? Nice to haves or ornaments that a lot of people want to see in an ecosystem that they want to build in, things like integrations with tools like Layer Zero or oracles for popular assets that they want to build a marketplace around. All that infrastructure is available and working on Hemi, so we're definitely production ready. We've been production ready for quite a while. I think there's gradients to when do we want people, or when can people start building certain types of things. And so I think, like, again, going back to ZK proofs a little bit, but with HBit VM and some of that ZK proving work we're doing, that sort of sets the stage for a lot of other cool use cases that theoretically you could go and do today if you were to implement what we're working on building. But having that primitive that we built that's getting incentivized on chain, that unlocks a lot of cool new things that realistically you couldn't do today unless you were to basically rebuild the HBit VM ZK proving system that we're building out. So it's a gradient. I mean, we're production ready, but I think more interesting use cases at a production ready level will be unlocked as we start shipping some of these features. Minerify is also a good example. There's some really cool stuff we're doing with threshold signatures that could be reused. We're using it for this sort of fast bridge mechanism, this way of easily onboarding Bitcoin and deploying it into DeFi. But that same technical architecture with a couple small tweaks, you could turn that into, smart contract controlled Bitcoin smart wallets or some sort of, cross-chain escrow system or whatever it may be. And it's not just Bitcoin specific either. It's, threshold signature schemes. You could use those for EVMs. You can use it for Bitcoin. You can use it for pretty much any blockchain unless they're like only doing post quantum stuff or some like really weird edge case. So there's a lot of cool stuff that I think will unlock more production use cases with, battle tested, audited code that solve specific problems that people can use as sort of these Lego pieces.
So another way to look at it is production ready and done are not the same thing in software like blockchains. Hemi is production ready. It's not done in the sense that there's more that's being added, and there are things like what that Max was alluding to that you'd want to do with Hemi that you can't do today. But the things that you can do today, it is a production ready network that is, ready and there for, all of the use cases that it currently supports.
All right. I have a follow-up. So I have a follow-up to no one's question. Um, regarding the escrow plus dispute resolution. But then I have a part two from Yahoo's that I'm going to go back to. So let's do this just because it's fresh on the mind, and the other one is like a brand new question. It's like if something is wrong, the buyer opens a dispute from their orders page, describing the issue and attaching evidence, and I can investigate and release the funds to the buyer or seller based on the situation. I think that was a follow up to what was said earlier.
So for the dispute resolution, I'd say so, kind of like a virtual eBay sort of a thing. eBay's virtual. That's a redundant thing, but yeah, that would. You could build it different ways. Probably what you may want to do, depending on like user privacy and stuff, would be you could have an on-chain system for submitting the disputes, and then you have a multi-sig type of a system for resolving them. So you're not going to have a smart contract be able to automatically understand someone's complaint and validate it. Obviously, so you need that human in the loop, which is kind of what you're designing around. But you could have a system where the user's complaint itself is either published directly on chain or is hashed, and then a hash of it's published on chain, like timestamping. And then if there was ever, you know, a dispute of the dispute or something, you at least have sort of a on-chain paper trail of what evidence the buyer provided for why services weren't rendered or whatever it may be, and then you can point to that as the reason that the humans in the multisig made a certain dispute resolution decision. It's a kind of a hybrid model where you have on-chain paper trail, and again, whether you post the data directly or whether it's like a hash of it or something depends on user privacy, and also hashes are generally a lot smaller, so it's more efficient, cheaper to do. And then you have that sort of off-chain component that you have humans in the loop. They decide on a decision and then sign something that effectuates the result of the dispute resolution on chain. I don't know, John, if you have anything to add to that.
No, actually, for once, I don't.
Wow. All right. I didn't see that coming. I was like, sorry. All right. We're gonna bounce back to Yahoo's second question. This is a very interesting one. That John will have a lot to say about. What developer mistakes does the engineering team see most often during testing?
That's an interesting question. Hmm. I mean, there's a class of like merge conflicts when we're rebasing on upstream code, and that's a common area where something doesn't get merged properly, and we have to go investigate that, or we find it as part of the review and have to go fix that. So that's a common one, just because it's a lot of moving pieces and it's kind of hard to keep track of everything sometimes for resolving ridiculous merge conflicts with giant code bases. I don't know, John, if you have any more interesting answers.
Okay, so, well, yeah, Joshua said formatting issues, and
Yeah, Josh, we're the king of the linters.
that one is all the goddamn time, despite that the linters are usually supposed to be pretty good. Another one that is like insanely common is code will have tests, right? So like we have our code, for example, has all sorts of automated tests, and code will have tests, and people will make changes, and you know what? The tests don't pass, and they don't fix them. That's a big one. A huge one that's not sort of a coding issue, sort of not, is the number of times we see someone will write code, might even be good code, and they don't update the damn README. So the documentation is in no way, shape, or form not consistent with the code. And I'd call that a bug. On the smart contract side, I have still to this day will come across a smart contract that I'm asked to look at that has a reentrancy bug. And then here's the big one, and this one's for Joshua, is we still come across people who write UIs that don't have dark mode.
The worst bug of all. I think a good honorable mention would be GitHub not running the CI pipeline properly and saying that something was broken or didn't work correctly when actually it's GitHub's fault for not running it properly. Especially the last 3 months.
Do you remember when GitHub used to kind of work at least?
Yeah, like back when we started Hemi.
Right? Like it was, oh my God, it actually did work. It was so much easier than the old ways of doing things. And now they've just found new ways to frustrate us.
All right, let's see. Okay. This is an interesting. Is Hemi building a mobile app? I see mobile as the future.
We're not at the moment. We have talked about doing sort of actually, this is one of Marco's, I don't want to call it pet projects because I don't think he did any actual work on it, but he was proposing this is something that we could do at some point. It's kind of like an all-in-one Hemi experience, and part of that would be a very mobile-first version of interacting with the Hemi chain. So it certainly could be interesting. You mentioned the like hardware wallet support on mobile. I've never actually used a hardware wallet on mobile. I know some of them work with things like I think some of them have Bluetooth, some of them work with like NFC or something, and that just always I don't know. I treat mobile devices as petri dishes, and so I sort of assume that my phone, if anything's going to be compromised, it's going to be a mobile device because there's just so many attack vectors, and they're connected to public networks, and people can text them. God knows what that exploits. God knows what zero-day vulnerability that was baked into the code base 10 years ago by quote unquote accident. So mobile, mobile and crypto, I think are there's a lot of people who use mobile for crypto, and a lot of that right now is through, at least to my knowledge, centralized exchanges, trading on a centralized exchange or something from their phone rather than doing a lot of like heavy on-chain stuff. I know some people do, but it's part of that could be a chicken and an egg thing where the usability is just not great. I mean, let's be fair, crypto usability isn't even great on your desktop, right? So mobile's a whole other animal, but it would be cool. It's something we've talked about doing, but not something we're actively working on.
Yeah, I have also never used a hardware wallet with a mobile device, despite, I'm one of those people who I've worn out the buttons on more than one ledger. And if I came into a situation where I actually had reason to spend crypto from my mobile device, I would treat it as a hot wallet where you put some, I would never never treat it as a serious source of funds. It should be a hot wallet at best. Because your phone is, when you think about the least secure things, it probably goes cell phone, web browser, and that those are the top two.
I don't even let my cell phone on my Wi-Fi network. So
All right. I got a follow up to that. Um, what problem took the engineering team the longest to solve?
Uh, there's a couple good candidates. I'd say if we're talking about problem like thing that we're building, probably if you'd asked a year ago, the answer definitely would have been TBC and that embedded index Bitcoin node. We actually built it in a way that indexes deterministically. We can control it from opgeth, and then there's the actual glue between opgeth, how the precompiles work. Nowadays, we've probably spent more total engineering time. Actually, no, I won't say it. Probably TBC is still because we're still adding stuff to it. We're still working on it, still fixing bugs in it. So that's probably been for big items the what's taken the most engineering resources so far. I think by the time it's released, probably HBit VM will eclipse that with between the ZK proving system, the smart contract coordination layer. There's a lot of moving pieces that have to be done very, very precisely. And so that's definitely a large engineering challenge for sure. There's a lot that goes into it. John,
Are
you
we,
have more creative answers.
I was going to say, are we counting naming Hemi?
That one's up there. That took a lot of a lot of resources.
There were a lot of human hours thrown into that. I registered a hell of a lot of GitHub organizations.
Probably like 50 plus, right?
Oh, it is ridiculous. We did so many. Where it's like, oh no, this is the perfect name. I'm gonna go register all of them. Oh fuck, it's not.
And the next everyone's like, I hate it.
What were some of the names? Is that like something we can talk about or not so much?
Um,
I don't know.
I mean, they were harmless. It wasn't like there've been some other projects that have had some dicier names, but I will share Cider was one that came up a couple times, and I still have a lot of GitHub organizations for that because I just registered them for it.
Then there was one that was like I forgot what the name was, but it was like train, subway, transportation themed, and we tried a bunch of variants of that.
Oh yeah, we bounced around those ideas forever.
I think that may have actually been where we first decided to use the term tunneling.
Yes,
Don't quote me on that, but
no, that is because we were talking about bridge. We had all the transportation stuff. We were talking about bridges, but we wanted to be better. And I made some sort of joke about instead of a bridge, it's a tunnel.
that's right. Yeah, oh,
And it was a poorly thought out joke that stuck.
that's going way back. That was what 23.
Yes, that was.
Jeez.
Oh, right. Oh, okay, got a couple more. Is it Oh shit, we're at the top of the hour. Do we have time for the two more that I have?
I have to
Yeah, I
drop.
can say another 5-10 minutes.
Okay. Uh is it possible to renew .hemi web addresses? Last I checked it wasn't. I don't know if it's worth speculating on these for anything more than just names that are easier to read than addresses.
I don't know what's going on with the .hemi domains. Not sure if they're still maintaining that project. I'd have to check. It's probably still possible to do on-chain. They might not just be running the web interface for it. So off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, generally speaking, probably not worth speculating. I mean, not financial advice, obviously, but um, they are kind of cool for just planting a flag in the ground and having a ENS style domain to do some cool stuff with. So if you have one that you like, see if you can renew it on chain. You can do a lot of on chain actions pretty easily through the Explorer. So if you just go to the smart contract for uh, .hemi domain registration, you can probably look at the contract page and figure out how to do a renewal and look at some of the other transactions as example templates if you need. But yeah, don't know what exactly is going on with that project and whether they're still maintaining it.
I also already spend way too much on a three-letter ENS name.
Haven't we all? And then forgot to renew it.
Oh, right. And final kind of question, but it's actually really interesting. I hope Hemi builds a platform where devs can launch their projects in testnet for everyone to test and give feedback.
It would be cool. Maybe it'd be like a, thinking of how to design it. Like maybe
That would
just
be
a
really
Discord
cool.
channel and then some sort of like way that we feature some cool things people are working on for other people to check out and give feedback. I'll have to think about a structure, but yeah, it would be nice to have sort of a more structured community building thing where it's like, hey, you're building something, you want feedback, you want people to play around with it, beta test it, whatever, or maybe find other people who you want to, work on something together with. It would be cool to have a better funnel for all that.
Yeah, there really isn't anything to build for that. It's more, how do we set up and interact with such things? Because for actual building it, there is testnet, but yeah, for how do you make it visible to people? That is the type of thing people who know Discord and similar things are probably like Rick and Joshua are better suited for having ideas.
We've been doing Discord events for 2 years, and I still sometimes struggle to find how to actually join these with audio working. So I'm not the right person to design that system.
Yeah, I never remember where it is, and then do I remember to hit like at join stage or what?
I think Josh actually just solved the problem. We could absolutely make a forum channel for it here, like a hashtag projects channel where anyone can create a post for their project and get feedback and discuss it. That could allow voting and bumping too. Um,
See, I
let's
told
do it.
you, I told all of you that people who understood Discord would have a better answer than me or Max would.
Yeah. Um, that that can we do that? Do you guys have a problem if we just do it?
Let's go for it.
All right, awesome. Yeah, Josh, let's do it. Perfect. All right, there you go, no one. It exists. All right. Um, so we are a little past time. I just want to thank everyone for coming. We'll clip the actual questions and we'll we'll cut out all the lawn care and video game talk. I might leave a little lawn care stuff in there.
You'll
Gotta
get
have at least one lawn story.
Yeah, I'll probably cut out the story about my drunk friend and some other shit. But what are you gonna do? All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. Please check out the poll to determine when we have the next one of these in Cadence. Next week is at 11 a.m. EDT, uh, but we're wondering if we're gonna stay at that time or keep our alternating. So thank you guys again, and any questions, obviously ask them in Discord, midweek with Max. Um, engineering office hours. I said it correctly that time. Holy shit. Um, yeah, we'll see you around. Thanks everyone.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining. And then I'm not sure if we have a good system set up for this yet. But what we would like to start doing for these is if there's a specific topic that somebody wants to talk about, if they want to post that a day or two ahead, we can, again, depending on people's availability, but try to have the person relevant to that on the call. So, for example, if you had a question about something related to, I don't know, building on TBC, right? You might want to pull other team members into that wouldn't normally be on these to chat about that. So, if you have something specific you want to chat about, if there's Rick, how you want to coordinate it, but if people want to post about that a day or two ahead, maybe in this channel or however that works,
Yeah,
that can help us sort of get the right people on the calls for these.
what I'll do is I'll post a question channel and kind of treat it the same way as midweek with Max. So we'll do the question channel on Friday or no, we'll do I'll do it at the same time as I do the midweek with Mac question channels. So there'll be one for the Builder AMA on Wednesdays and the midweek with Max questions, so people can post them a couple days in advance. And that way, as they come in, you guys can see it in real time, and hopefully we can get the right folks there to align with the questions.
All right, perfect.
Sweet, we're solving problems today, boys. This is awesome. and
All right.
designing soccer jerseys as we do it.
Gotta finish that up. All right, cool. Thanks everyone, and we will see you next week.
All right, take care, all. Bye.